the heart of this nation, under skies so blue,
there's a spirit that's stirring, values strong and true.
From the mountains to the prairies, from the cities to the sea, we stand for liberty, for faith and family. We're diving deep into the heart of what we believe.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Okay, today we're jumping straight into the big story from the WNBA opener.
That Fever Sky game, right? Clark versus Reese.
Exactly. That much-anticipated first matchup. If you want to get up to speed quickly on the hype, what went down, and, the early reactions, this is definitely the place.
Yeah, and we're looking at a piece from Red State today. It offers let's say, a particular perspective on how this rivalry is shaping up.
Right. So our mission really is to unpack that media narrative around Clark and Reese, look at the actual game, the results, and then sort of probe whether this rivalry narrative, is it built to last?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so setting the scene, that opener got huge attention.
Huge.
Over 3 million viewers across ESPN. I mean, that's a record for a WNBA game on those platforms.
No question. And you can really feel the media push, framing it as this carryover from their college days, trying to boost those numbers.
It certainly worked for viewership in Game 1, but the Red State article asks this really interesting question. Is focusing so hard on the personal rivalry the right long-term play for the WNBA, especially, considering how the game actually played out?
That's the core issue, isn't it? Because the game itself wasn't exactly close.
Not at all. The article points this out clearly. Indiana Fever beat the Chicago Sky pretty handily. The final was 93-58.
Wow, 93-58. That's a decisive win.
A blowout, really, and that feeds right into the next point, looking at the individual players.
Right, because Clark, what a debut. And we should clarify, the article apparently first said second season, but no, this was her rookie debut, her first game.
Her very first WNBA game, yeah. And she puts up a triple-double. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists.
You really can't script a much better start to a pro career. That's incredible.
Absolutely phenomenal. Now, Angel Reese's numbers tell a bit of a different story for this game.
Okay.
She scored 12 points, and the shooting wasn't super efficient, 5 for 14. And this is a big, but 17 rebounds. She was dominant on the glass.
17 rebounds is massive. So great on the boards, but maybe not the same overall offensive punch as Clark in this particular game.
Exactly. And that difference, that disparity, is something Nick Wright picked up on. He's on First Things First on Fox Sports.
Right. What did he say?
Well, he thinks the rivalry could be something. It has potential. But he was pretty blunt. He basically said Angel Reese needs to get better at basketball for this rivalry narrative to stick.
Okay, blunt is right. Did he elaborate?
Yeah, he was careful to frame it purely about on-court performance, said something like, I'm not talking about as a person, or at the Met Gala, she needs to be a better player if we want this rivalry to have some staying power.
Mm-hmm.
He went on, right now, Angel Reese, she is a wildly famous rebounder. I love the idea of this being a real rivalry because they clearly don't like each other, but both parties have to hold up their end of the bargain as far as them both being awesome.
So his point is, for a rivalry to be truly great, both sides need to be performing at an elite level consistently. It can't just be about hype or personality clashes.
Yeah. Pretty much. You need that competitive balance on the court for it to really sizzle long term.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, there was also a bit of on-court drama, right? A specific play.
Oh, yeah. There was that moment where Clark fouled Reese. Reese was going for an open layup on a fast break.
Okay.
But it happened right after Reese seemed to get away with a push on a Fever player to grab a rebound. Clark apparently pointed it out. No call was made. Then she fouled Reese to stop the easy basket.
The refs got involved.
They did. They reviewed it and upgraded Clark's foul to a flagrant foul.
A flagrant? Okay, that sounds like it would stir things up.
Definitely. And it got a strong reaction from Clay Travis over at Outkick.
What was his take?
He thought the whole thing was blown out of proportion. He described it, let me see if I remember his quote, something like, watch the play. Reese clearly fouls the other chick, pushing her in the back with both hands to get the rebound.
Okay, so he saw the initial foul by Reese first.
Yes. And then he said, Clark points to it, and then when the call isn't made, fouls to stop the open layup. He called the flagrant foul controversy just insane, basically arguing the focus was misplaced.
So another layer to the whole narrative, the play itself, the officiating, how different people interpret it.
Exactly. It all feeds the beast, so to speak. But going back to the Red State article's main point,
Right, the conclusion.
the author kind of sums it up by saying, look, the WNBA obviously hopes this rivalry drives interest, sponsorships, all that good stuff.
Understandably.
But if the games themselves keep being this lopsided, even with all the personal animosity and media hype, people might just, tune out eventually.
That's the risk, isn't it? That the on-court product has to deliver competitive games, otherwise the narrative, no matter how juicy, might not be enough to keep viewers hooked long-term.
That seems to be the concern raised. Viewership could decline if it feels like the outcome is predictable.
Okay, so let's recap the key things here. The WNBA is clearly leveraging this Clark-Reese rivalry. Game 1 smashed viewership records, which is great for the league.
Huge numbers, yeah. But that big win by the Fever and the performance gap in that first game raises questions about whether this specific matchup can sustain a compelling rivalry if things stay this unbalanced.
And you have meaty voices, like Nick Wright, saying Reese needs to step up her overall game, not just rebounding, for the rivalry to really take off. Plus, we have this officiating controversy adding fuel to the fire.
Right. It's all part of the early story.
So for you listening, wanting that quick understanding, this gives you a pretty good snapshot. You see the media framing, the initial results, and some of the critical takes already emerging around this really high-profile WNBA storyline.
And it leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on, doesn't it?
Which is,
Well, given those record ratings for a game that was, frankly, a blowout, what's really driving fan interest right now? Is it the individual star power? Is it the actual competition? Is it these compelling personal narratives? Or, some mix of everything?
yeah, that's a great question. And maybe the biggest one. Is a really strong personal rivalry enough on its own? Can it keep people watching even if the games aren't always down to the wire nail-biters?
Something to definitely keep an eye on as the season unfolds.